Hey, what's up, Canada and beyond? Welcome back. It is Tuesday, June 18th. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, grannies and gators, do you know what the clowns are up to out there in clown worlds today? We're going to talk a little bit about that today, about something that is finally, I guess, kind of reaching the Overton window. We're going to talk about a very controversial subject today. I did a very deep dive on this about a year ago for the Wendy Bell Radio Network platform in based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the U.S. of A. Doing some work for them last year. We did a very deep dive into chemtrails, and this week it has finally hit the table of discussion or virtue signaling outrage, shall we say. The NDP has picked this up based on a leaked conversation from Premier Scott Moe. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, the good stuff, the juicy stuff, I am not live on Rumble. It's telling me I am live on Rumble. I'm just getting a message here from elsewhere. Yeah, I am live on Rumble. So sorry, Pamela. Might be a little bit late getting there. I'm not sure. And that's where I really where I want to start, guys, is wow. The last couple of weeks have just been upside down, topsy turvy, not just my platform, but a bunch of other platforms. Um, at least we're live on X. I'm seeing 13 people so far on Rumble. So hopefully this gets itself, we get this figured out. But this is why I'm so adamant about folks getting over to our other platforms, our standalone platforms, which are islands of sanity in the insanity out there. Where, sorry, I didn't refresh this one. You're still seeing yesterday's show, but that was a really good show. A lot of interesting stuff where we're taking a closer focus on Monday nights to what's going on in the grassroots communities. I sit in on a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions. Uh, yeah, no, we're live on everywhere, guys. My dashboard is telling me it's interesting how we're getting conflicting messages. Not live on X, not live on Rumble, but I by my dashboard and I'm watching the streams. If you guys saw what I'm working with here, you would go either he's really talented or he's an absolute fool. But yeah, I've literally got 23, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different windows open, my dashboard open, audio open, chats open, and everything is going fine so far. So it seems on the platforms that we are streaming to, but this is again lgm.news, whatsupcanada.org. These platforms are consistent, guys, every Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. If you're having issues anywhere else, this is why we built these platforms. Facebook has been running me through the ringer. What they want from me is they want me to get accredited through one of Trudeau's organizations before they will allow me to stream live and call myself a news or media platform in Canada. So this is Bill C11, Bill C18 coming home to roost. We didn't get them stopped. We knew sooner or later that it was going to make an impact in the real world, and those days are here. So there's nothing more I can really do about these guys if this is what they want to do. YouTube is hit and miss. They've been pretty good the last week, the week before. 2 streams I wouldn't let go, but this is why we're focusing on LGM, What's Up Canada, Rumble, and Substack is where every day after the next morning after we've done a stream, I share with you guys all of the links, all of the resources. If there's documents that need to be shared, I make them accessible there. All of that stuff. Substack is where we'll be able to get together on all of those things. So if you want to stream, just catch the stream, catch it on Rumble, LGM, What's Up Canada, and if you want the rest of it, get subscribed over on Substack. And as always, guys, part of the challenge of doing all of this is making sure that it stays free for everybody. And right now, this is how we adapt, improvise, and overcome in order to make this possible to stay free for everyone out there. So, uh, not just in times of crisis, but guys, we're going to be seeing over the next couple of weeks where the trusted journalists, the people that are doing the work, they need your help and support because they're experiencing all of these same issues that I am. This isn't just this isn't a how shall I say this? This isn't, we don't do this for our entertainment or lifestyle. And you guys can tell the difference already. You guys have got plenty of discernment as to who's doing the real stuff and who is in this for fame and fortune. But don't forget to support the journalists that are doing the hard work, grinding things out for you guys. Um, we're not the only one actually breaking this week. Platform called Northern Perspective had been really trying really hard to run under the radar, incognito. But one of the creators there, although he was doing everything on his own time, in his own time, the government found out that he worked as a public sector employee and he was running this truth and independent journalist platform. So they fired him. They cannot stand any of this and they're crushing his platforms as well. So this is not just a What's Up Canada issue, but I'm really proud of you guys that do this. Find us, track us down, and are here every single day. I'm proud of you guys. This is literally a symbiotic environment. We can't survive without you guys, and I'd like to think that our humanity's best chance at survival is dependent on a thriving and authentic media, which is what we're endeavoring to build. So, covered the housework and the paperwork. Now we're going to get to some of the meat of the story. And I'm going to start off with this one here. I'm not going to play very long. I'm only going to play just a couple of seconds of this. But the reason I'm pulling this one up to start the show with is because this was released 10 years ago. People have been screaming and screaming from the mountaintops about what is going on in our skies, the poisons that they are dumping on us by the plane load, literally, and by the thousands of plane loads. And it's time that we start having this conversation in Canada. So, although I did one last year, new developments, the window to the discussion, the Overton window, appears to be open or opening. And whether it is or isn't, maybe it's time to kick that window open a little bit more. So I'm going to play a couple of seconds of this one just so that y'all can get, what do they call that? A teaser on what is in here. And you guys will be able to find the link to the rest of it in the Substack tomorrow. Anybody ever see any of these lately? Today? How many? And that's where I'm going to stop this one here right now. 10 years ago, they were explaining already the difference between contrails and chemtrails. We're going to look at a whole bunch of evidence here, um, links towards evidence, stories, and we're going to get some testimony from pilots who were involved in these endeavors. But the point I want to bring up right away is where is it here? This one here. Before anything actually even starts with the conversation with Scott Moe, the NDP is already on top of it at every corner, screaming conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory. So it's interesting to me, and if you Google it, you'll find a litany, like a list of outlets that are covering this, that are trying to intercept Scott Moe on what his statements were. But we're gonna listen to this lady, pardon me, this Carla Black, that or Carla Beck, sorry, excuse me, is questioning Scott Moe's comments at conspiracy theory filled town hall. So we've got an entire party, Elizabeth May to Carla Beck to Mr. Jugmeat Sinker himself, that are screaming conspiracy theory and literally trying to denigrate, to make people look and feel stupid. They're gaslighting you. That's really what this is. The NDP party at every level, in every province, in every jurisdiction, in every region is gaslighting you, as saying it's disappointing that Premier Scott Moe would not push back on harmful conspiracy theories, especially as how they're related to healthcare workers. So to make sure that we're clear on this, I've got her statement pulled up, and we're going to play that before we dive into a little bit more of this.
When you look at our healthcare system, you look at healthcare workers telling us they're leaving because when you look at the state of our healthcare system, you look at healthcare workers telling us they're leaving because they feel burnt out and they feel like they've been disrespected and disregarded. The cost of living, something we hear every day. I was meeting with workers again yesterday, heard the same thing. The fact that the Premier can't stand up and just say, you know what, that's not something we're going to spend time on. These are the priorities. This is not a Premier who says the same thing in every room. He doesn't show leadership when it's hard, or when he doesn't think there's a camera on him, I guess.
So this is a perfect case of the exact same thing that they did when Scott Moe's government and Danielle Smith's government took their stance on listening to the people, responding to the demand and the answers to them of what's important to them. They are actually there to represent, and this falsetto, it's so terrible, he's ignoring our other real problems that we think he should look at. Well, Chickapoo, I think it's back to the unemployment line for you, because this attempt to grandstand your virtue signaling garbage and nonsense, and to spin this into making us all look like retards because we want answers to this as Canadians, and then basically, portraying Scott Moe as being irresponsible. And how do you say the same thing in every room? Because you get asked different questions, and you're, as a representative, you have to take all of the questions that are in the room, as Scott Moe does, in my opinion. But there was something that I was looking for here where, geez, Scott Moe had addressed the. Just gonna see if I can find his. I've got the video, guys, of where he had said this. I'll share the link in the video, but I'm sorry I did not have time to get it pulled out for this show here tonight. But I'll find where he actually addresses it, and I will add the timestamp into the Substack when I publish it tomorrow. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do with this show here tonight is to lay out a bunch of different opinions, a bunch of different resources, so that we can take the appropriate amount of time to get better educated and acclimated to the conversation, so that we can articulate it more effectively. There's a lot of people that know a lot about chemtrails out there and are doing something about it, but we need to help now. This is where we have to take the tools and the resources that we've accumulated for all of the various initiatives and things that we've been fighting, and bear them down in support of Scott Moe. If Scott Moe is willing to take a risk on this, we have to support him in this particular discussion, regardless of what we think about other things. And this is kind of the thing that's difficult with politics. I understand that we may not like the individual in whatever case it might be, but when they are bringing up an opportunity for a discussion, a hard discussion, it's time for us to get involved in this. And this was not the article I wanted to pull up next, but this one is. So I brought this one up because this is a CBC article where they've been flat out stating they've been cloud seeding for decades. And this article is from 2020, February of 2020. So right out of the chute, guys, we've got the premier flagship of mercenary media actually corroborating and confirming that, no, we are not batshit crazy for demanding answers to this. And they know about it. They're doing it. And it's time for us to have a discussion about what is in these chemicals, these things that they are legitimately spraying. And that's where, in this article here from 2020 from the CBC, how can it be conspiracy theory when we talk about it, but it's okay to talk about it for the CBC? That's the gaslighting factor, right? So I've brought up some other resources for people to understand, like even Google allows this. You can find the patent number for method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and or magnetosphere. So this is our climate. Those are the things. Those are things that make up our climate. And this is a patent for method and apparatus for altering. And I'm going to read just this abstract of this before we carry on to another thing. So I'm just giving you guys the seeds, and you guys can go and harvest a whole lot of information further and more in depth. There's a lot here to go through, and there's obviously no way we can go through this in a show, so we'll get through the abstract here anyways. A method and apparatus for altering at least one selected region where normally exists above the Earth's surface. The region is excited by electron cyclotron resonance heating to thereby increase its charged particle density. In one embodiment, circularly polarized electromagnetic radiation is transmitted upward in a direction substantially parallel to and along a field line which extends through the region of plasma to be altered. So, altering plasma sounds like something Doctor Who would do, right? But no, this is more like DARPA and the United States government and Bill Gates and all of these other raging eco-terrorists and climate lunatics, right? So this is the science that they're depending on to fix the mess that Mother Earth created, because they know better than Mother Earth. So the radiation is transmitted at a frequency which excites electrons, cyclotron resonance to heat and accelerate the charged particles. This increase in energy can cause ionization of neutral particles, which are then absorbed as part of the region, thereby increasing the charged particle density of the region. So they're using particles to manipulate materials. Okay. Where does that fit into chemtrails? Parliamentary question from 2007. Aircraft condensation trails, which no longer only contain water, but cause persistent milky veils, possibly due to the presence of barium, aluminum, and iron. Wow. Well, that's got to be healthy and good for you, right? Okay, that's what they're trying to tell us. Is that it might be because of that. Well, where is all that junk coming from? I think it's pretty clear. It doesn't take a rocket scientist apparently to figure out what is coming out of the tail ends of those planes. So I have another a little bit of a video. Well, it's actually quite a long video. We might, you know, we might actually run a little early tonight. I've been trying to gauge enough information, but this show kind of came out of the blue. Got put together really quickly in order to kind of pile on to a bunch of stuff. And there's a lot of people that have been really asking for a long time for me to do something on this to help get the information out there. So I'll do this today, and I expect the response from people that dive deeper into this, other people that are more knowledgeable, have more resources, more information, more evidence will come forward. So we'll probably revisit this. We'll see how it goes, because I really want to track Scott Moe's response to this, and I will bring that clip up for one of our upcoming shows here. It's going to be up to us to maintain the chatter. If we don't keep talking about it, it just fades away under the next crisis, bird flu, or whatever else it is that they want to throw at us. So today's just kind of skip over the lily pads in the swamp, and there's all kinds of stuff. I'm seeing here, Don Jr., believe it or not, there's small traces of arsenic that is mixed in those trails too. Absolutely. They talk about, so in this video here, I'm not familiar with this fellow or this channel before this, Richard Vrobies. This was done about just a couple of days ago. It's called The Truth About Chemtrails from pilots. He's got 2 pilots on here that are absolutely concerned for their safety. So they've used voice masking equipment on that, and this is stuff that I'm looking at too. I've got people that have important stories, testimony. It's not just stories, but they have testimony. And when a lot of these stories come to me, I can't do anything about it until I've got a witness or evidence or a testimony that is, relevant. And they're afraid to do it. Just masking their faces isn't enough. We have to mask their voices. So I'm going to play a few minutes of this interview here and just kind of set the stage as to where it goes deeper in this conversation that he has from these two pilots. Initially, they give their credentials. One has been flying professionally and commercially for 25 years, and the other one has been doing so for a lifetime. So there's all kinds. There's going to be a lot more to come on this, but today is kind of the dipping the introductory level chemtrails 101 when we're getting started on the real discussion, because now we've got politicians in Canada that are actually opening their mouths about it. So it's boogaloo go time.
Who would like to kick off with what they're spraying and perhaps why?
Yes, I can answer that, Richards. So what they're spraying, we've all around Europe, we have had tests done from the dust on your car, from the dust on roofs, and I've noticed the chemtrails personally for about the last 10 years.
These are some of the questions. And of course, finally, what we can do to put an end to this, because if we're all breathing in whatever is being sprayed, that potentially is damaging our health. And that's not a good thing for anybody, especially as none of us has asked them to do that, as far as I know. So who would like to kick off with what they're spraying and perhaps why?
Yes, I can answer that, Richards. So what they're spraying, we've all around Europe, we have had tests done from the dust on your car, from the dust on roofs, and I've noticed the chemtrails personally for about the last 10 years. So they have been tested. If you go onto a website that I'll give you initially, it is geoengineeringwatch.org. That's geoengineeringwatch.org. A lot of confirming information can also be found on that website. So we have had many samples tested from various laboratories where they have mass.
I'll be including that website. Don't worry, guys. And we're going to take a quick look at it here after we cover a couple minutes of this. I'm going to introduce you guys to a couple of platforms that are dedicated to particularly fighting this matter. So don't worry about it, guys. You guys I'll make sure that you guys have access to all of the information.
Spectrometers, and the main constituents are barium, strontium, aluminium oxide. The first two are carcinogenic. Aluminium oxide promotes Alzheimer's disease, amongst other things. And there are various microplastics, up to 2% uranium, and graphene oxide, which we all know about. These tend to be the basic.
Aluminum oxide and graphene oxide. Well, aluminum oxide, from my 15 years in firefighting, I can tell you is highly flammable when it's atomized. I wonder how much of that they're spraying in Canada, given what they're trying to promote as wildfire season, man-made or not. And well, graphene oxide, although it's something that's a very new word in our English language, only having come into conversation in the last couple of years, we have no idea how long they have been potentially spraying that crap up there either.
Elements in what they're spraying. The justification for it, they say, and we're talking the New World Order, globalists, etc., is to dim the sun, because it's climate change or whatever they want to call it next week, is to dim the sun and to insidiously poison everything. It is the depopulation program. It all leads back to that. It leads back to the World Health Organization. It leads back to the WEF, the WEF at Davos, and the main players who are sponsoring this of the Bill Gates Foundation and various others. But this is in the Agenda 2030, in the Agenda 2021. It's well documented in the Johns Hopkins University agendas. They are all publicly available. So it essentially does two things. It is to block out the sun and to insidiously poison everything.
And just by blocking out the sun, of course, you're actually depleting the amount of vitamin D that people can receive, and also, of course, prohibiting plants from growing. And if not plants, then animals, and consequently humans.
Precisely. And yes, it's the animals are eating the grass. It's in the grass. We've been speaking to a lot of farmers. As I say, I'm from Belgium, and a lot of the farmers there are reporting all sorts of problems with animals, particularly newborn animals such as lambs. And yes, it's starting to affect everything, and it is insidious. And of course, your doctor, when you have something wrong, they have no idea where it's from.
Yes, and this has been going, we know, from at least the 1940s, but I've had reports that hot air balloons were sort of mucking about with weather testing in the 1880s or something.
Yes, also it's in the public domain. If people search for this, there are hundreds of geoengineering patents have been applied for by a variety of companies from around the world. And again, it takes a bit of research, but if you do the research, you'll find that the main sponsors for a lot of these companies all go back to the same sources, which is some of the Soros foundations, the Bill Gates foundations, and so on. It gets a little bit more involved because with a lot of the metal particulates,
Twice. I've been kicked out of my studio here now. I have no idea whether I'm still streaming or not. Somebody on Rumble, if this is still going live on Rumble or on X, somebody just throw something into the comments. Let me see this. Apparently somebody doesn't want me talking about this. I'm kind of really not surprised. I mean, that's what we do here at What's Up Canada, right? Is we talk about everything else they don't want to. Okay. Brenda says you have sound now. I wonder if I dare share more of that. I will. I'm back. Wow. That was, I mean, they do a lot of things to disrupt my shows, but this is kind of new. I'm not sure really what to think about this. It must be over the target. So I'm going to back it up just a couple of seconds on the video. I'm going to try it again. But before we get to that, I want to unpack a couple of things that, they said. So there's carcinogens and heavy metals are basically particulated. Barium, uranium, all of these things that we know are absolutely toxic. They're funded and driven by the World Economic Forum, the WEF, the Open Society Foundation, and Bill Gates. Again, no surprises. So why is the NDP out there screaming from the mountaintops and filling the news streams with us being dangerous conspiracy theorists that are really have no interest in people's health? Nothing could be farther from the truth. Nothing could be farther from the truth. And this is why we have to do this and have these conversations. And this, this NDP politician, she needs to be ashamed of herself. And we need to remind her that she's a public servant. And if that's how she is going to gaslight those legitimate concerns, she needs her butt replaced from whatever seat that she's in and removed from the equation. Again, another, and this again all ties back into the foreign influence, meddling, and treason going on in Canada. Because if she was calling you, me, John Q. Public, concerned about what's going on up there, and there's people in other chats here on Wimkin that think that we're batshit crazy as well. At the end of the day, we're not responsible for their denialism or their delusion. There is mountains of evidence. If they want to continue to pretend like this isn't real and doesn't exist, maybe it'll be easier for them to understand that the Nazis even did it by spraying potato bugs on Russian crops to try and starve out the Russians. So this, anybody that tries to pretend like we're stupid about having this discussion is going to find an enemy in me, because they are protecting exactly those people by their garbage stance, and their lack of ability to have an open mind and a reasonable discussion about real events. They are a part of the problem, and they are no different than the lowly private Stasi SS officer that serves the current regime of the World Economic Forum, Fourth Reich, and Klaus Schwab and his minions named Bill Gates and the others in the poison industry. So yeah, this probably isn't a place for you if you're not open to having a real discussion about real things when presented with the evidence to corroborate said events, even when it comes from the mercenaries. So if you don't buy it, go find elsewhere to harass and put your foot in your mouth and make yourself look ignorant, because that's at the end of the day what you're doing at this point. So I'm hoping that people get encouraged by this. If people want to call you you're crazy, tell them to show you some evidence other than fake news media that is actually corroborating it, and let's see where they stand on that. So I'm going to play here just another couple minutes of this pilot's interview and hope that you guys get a chance to listen to this when you catch it all in the Substack.
Dismissed that to begin with because we thought the hot section of the engine will just melt everything, but in actual fact what they're putting into the fuel it has a higher melting point of around about 900 degrees, and hot sections of the engines tend to burn at around 700 to 800 degrees. So, but much of these spray applications that you can see aircraft doing actually doesn't go through the fuel. Some of it's in the fuel, a very small amounts, but a lot of it is actually external nozzles. So HARP, which I think everybody has now heard about. There are various sites around the world. This is high frequency, but they're using thousands of watts. So it does affect the ionosphere, and having the metal particulates in the ionosphere already, they can then cause different pressure or heat domes, as they call it, which then manipulates the jet stream, which then picks up more water as it has a longer sea track. And then when they collapse the heat dome, the jet stream then comes over the UK, over Northern Europe, and we have 2 to 3 times the normal rainfall. This is all done by design.
And that's where I'm going to leave this particular video off, guys. This is it's packed full of information like that. That's pretty much basically corroborating exactly what we saw earlier in the patents, and you know, they exactly in these patents for climate modification, worldwide applications. There's mountains of information in here, guys. So before any of you chemtrail deniers want to come at me about any of this shit, don't be so freaking lazy. Go do some damn homework yourself, right? It's embarrassing when you want to pretend like this isn't happening, when all you have to do is look up, and any fool. And you know, the saddest part of this is I'll have pilots that tell me I'm crazy because I don't know the difference between a contrail and a chemtrail. These are the first people to dismiss anything out of sheer arrogance and ignorance. So anytime anybody's telling you that, you know exactly what you're dealing with, which is a witting idiot disciple of the Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates School of Programming. And Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab are giggling at how brave some of their meat muppet deniers are. So, yeah, am I telling you how I really feel about this? Yes, I am, because this is a conversation that I have been fighting on behalf of just simply having an open mind, simply looking at the evidence and the research. I'm not an expert. This makes me want to go and find the information, the data, and the research. And so far, it's not looking good for the deniers, and it's continuously getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, to the point where we have to stand up for Scott Moe, like him or not, and force this conversation and to corroborate it and to watch for it, and go out of your way to look for these conversations and fact check them. This is it's all military. Exactly. This is all military. VX S1. There's so much out there. This platform here, although I don't know whose platform this is just chock full of stuff, guys. So this, again, link to this platform, Geoengineering Watch. And this is the ignorance of those that, cloud seeding isn't chemtrails. Well, that's the only 2 words that they understand and can actually utter out of their ignorant faces, is cloud seeding isn't chemtrails. Well, there's a whole lot more to it than cloud seeding or chemtrails. A lot more to it, and it is up to us to understand and to bring that to light. So one more platform, Owen's Fact Finding. I'll make sure that there's a link in the Substack for y'all to grab that one tomorrow too, which again connects more dots. Information. This is going back to 1995 with testimony on what all of this is. Evidence, and there is absolutely no evidence to support their needs to do this. And this is all part of that, literally, that climate cult that wants us sick, dead, or subservient to their eco-terrorism, for lack of a better word for it. So that is the skip through the lily pads of the swamp creatures in the current Overton window. There's going to be lots of information there, guys, to dig through on all of that. So later on this week, we are going to get you out of here a few minutes early, which is great because everybody will be able to go and be prepared to cheer on Canada and the Oilers and their endeavors and trying to set NHL history. Yeah, so you guys will get out of here just in time for that. I got one more last share. Tomorrow night, guest night, we have got a fellow named Jake coming on who has been a part of the truth research community for decades. And rather than just going out and screaming from the mountaintops emotionally, he has been endeavoring to put together assets, resources, and information. So we're going to have him on to talk about solutions and ideas that he's got, that he's derived. What he is talking about is making its way to Canada. He first ended up on my radar through one of the leadership meetings, actually, that I'm speaking to on Mondays now. With the From the Roots theme. So you guys are going to get to know a lot more of Jake's work over the coming weeks and months. But tomorrow night he is going to join us, and we will get to hear from the horse's mouth, what he's all about and what he has, the knowledge and the experience that he has garnered, gathered, and gained, that you all out there and the rest of us might be able to take advantage of in our battles, whatever they are that we might be fighting, wherever they might be. And I know there are many, but the insanity is unsustainable, and I think that we're heading to the crescendo of all of it, and it's going to be a big year for humanity. And so these are the kinds of things we need. All the information we can get, because we are in an information war. We are fighting to protect everything that we hold dear and value in our societies and our nations, and information is the weapon. So if you guys found some value here tonight and you are considering supporting this platform, this is how you can do that. You can also find links to that on the whatsupcanada.org platform. Yep, that's where you'll find that stuff. Eyes are kind of rattling around here a little bit with the interruptions, which I do apologize for. I don't have a clue who I can give the credit for to that, but thank you all for hanging in there and sticking with me here tonight. Whatever they are throwing at us, at the end of the day, we are all in this together. So I love you all. Stay mighty, stay strong, my fellow patriots and hostages of insidious agencies. I love you all, and we will see you here same time, same place tomorrow with Jake. And to play us out, check out one of the other people, one of the other companies that the cabal fears most. Literally, they are among the top 10 corporations independently owned that the cabal fears. They actually put him at number 8 on the list. So check out our proud sponsors. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. We've got a team of real people, not bots and not foreigners, that are happy to answer and help with any questions that you might have. So we will see you all tomorrow.